and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another ZD Toys Iron Man unboxing and review video. Now today we are taking a look at the next figure in the line, being the Mark 5. Now you may be sitting there scratching your head thinking, Justin, you doofus, the Mark 5 does not come after the Mark 3. And yes, you are 100% correct. The Mark 4 though, at the time of filming this particular video, is not released yet, so you'll have to stay tuned. When it does eventually come out, I will of course pick it up and review it on the channel. So far, I've been really impressed with this lineup. They've kind of blown me away for the price point and also for the scale. So yes, my eyes are firmly focused on ZD Toys to see what they have coming up next, because I'm kind of all in on this line. If you are looking to pick up any of these Iron Man figures, I have included the link down in the description below to head over to toyswonderland.com where they are all in stock. What we are going to do now though is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here we have the box art for the Mark 5. It's actually a little bit different to the 2 and 3. It's not an image of the Mark 5 itself right up here in the center. It's a little bit more subdued. There's an image of the 5 here off to the side, and another silhouetted image blending in to the background. We do have another image of the figure on the side there, and a bunch more on the back, showing the suitcase, the fact that he can kick, and also the suit-up pose. Now, when we do open up the box itself, this is more what we've come to expect from ZD Toys. An image of the Mark 5 showing that arc reactor, the very same one we saw peeking through those gaps just a second ago. And here we have the figure himself, right up front and center. So far, I've been really impressed with this line. The quality of the figures as well as the quality of the boxes. As you can see, he does come with one tray down below, so what we are going to do now is get all of the Mark 5's accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. And here we have all the bits and pieces that come with the Mark 5. Starting off with the display base first. It's pretty much identical to the other ZD Toys releases. Iron Man 2 printed on the top this time, and Mark 5. I wouldn't be surprised if when we get the Mark 4, it's the exact same print. We do have a multi-jointed, multi-articulated flight arm with a waist grabber. However, you can take the crotch grabber and swap that out, or combine these arms with these ports to have the ultimate grabber that will have the crotch and also the waist fully supported. We do also get this piece, which is of course the Mark 5 in suitcase form. As you can see, yeah, it looks about right in terms of size, but not only do we not have a Tony Stark figure for this to go with, the Mark 5, which granted it would be super weird having him carry the suitcase, but he doesn't have a hand to carry it anyway. Still, it is really nicely sculpted and really nicely painted. We do get the same exact blast effect pieces we got with the Mark II and with the Mark III. No complaints for me though, they look fantastic. They also can peg into the underside of the feet, or you can bring in these repulsor hands with the holes in them, then have him blasting at Ivan Vanko there. A really nice touch, and I love the way they look and the way they function. Lastly, you do get some other hands. They are all open. The two fisted hands are already on the figure. You can see some marvelous paint applications, both on the repulsor and also on those teeny tiny little gaskets between each finger. What we are going to do now though is get the Mark 5 itself out here and take a closer look. And here we have him standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Yeah, they've nailed the look of the Mark 5. They nailed the 2 and 3 as well, but this is a very different suit of armor. It's very slim, it's very form-fitting, and the design is super busy and very intricate. But I'm pleased to report that the same level of love, care and attention to detail they put in the other two suits can be found here as well. He looks fantastic. Now, it's not all 100% perfect. There are a couple of things which we do need to discuss in just a second, but at a glance, at a distance, this guy's proportions look great. He does look like a real dude in a suit of armor. What we are going to do now though is punch in and take a closer look at the details. And here we have him up close and personal. This guy is a lot sleeker than some of the other armors that we've looked at on the channel. That makes sense because it's the Mark V. It's a much more lightweight suit of armor that comes out of a suitcase, so therefore it's a little bit more slender. Let's start off by talking about the paint applications, an area where ZD Toys have impressed me a lot so far. Did they do the same thing here this time? Honestly, not as much as some of their other releases. The silver looks great, but it also has this unpainted grey plastic in certain sections. The first version of the Hot Toys Mark V actually did that as well. It was unpainted grey plastic, and it looked kind of awful. Those sections really do stand out and aren't anywhere near as impressive as the rest of the suit. The rest of it, though, does look fantastic. The red has this punchy, vibrant look about it. It's super high gloss. The panel lines are all panel lined, and the silver also looks suitably metallic and shiny. I do have another complaint though, and that's that there's no light up effect, and the arc reactor and the eyes permanently look dead. It literally looks like the suit is off. They should have had a little bit of a glowing white paint application on the eyes and the arc reactor just to make it look like this thing was alive, not just a suit on display in your Hall of Armor. It works great for that, but if you want Tony facing off against a Whiplash figure, it's not really going to work because he kind of looks like he's just a dead suit here. As for the detail on the arms, yeah, it's all sculpted and detailed marvelously. Same thing on the torso, it's very accurate to the Mark V, and the proportions look great, all the way down to the legs with these little details painted in a really nice metallic silver. It's stuff like this that often gets missed on the regular retail releases, like a Marvel Legends version, for instance. Even details on the inside, on the back of the legs, are fully painted. Just look at the sculpt on the spine section here, and all these panels that would move together to bring the suit around the biceps. This thing is detailed to the nines. So yes, even though there is some unpainted plastic on the thighs, and the eyes in the arc reactor look a little bit dead, I'm still pretty darn impressed with this figure so far. It might be the weakest in the line for me to date, but still, that being said, the bar was already super high. Now for our quick side-by-side comparison, here we have the Mark V standing alongside the Black Series Bad Batch Hunter. Hopefully once again this gives you an idea as to how he'll scale next to some domestic products. Because he is a 7-inch scale, he is a little bit taller. Hopefully he will scale nicely alongside your Marvel Select figures, but honestly, alongside Marvel Legends, I don't think it's going to work. Maybe if you fudge it into a background diorama scene for a Hall of Armor setup, that could work quite nicely, but standing alongside a Thor or a Cap who are quite substantially smaller could look a little bit weird. Next up, here we have the Mark V alongside the Mark III and the Mark II. As you can see, the proportions still look really good on the 5, but he is a lot sleeker compared to the original 2 here. They all look fantastic in their own right, but if I had to pick my clear favourite out of these 3 right now, I'd 100% go with the Mark III. It's hands down the most classic of the set in terms of the colour scheme and in terms of the heritage in the film itself. Plus, I think the proportions do look more realistic. But either way, now that this line is growing, I'm super excited to complete the set. Just going over articulation on the Mark V. Now bear in mind, this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, you can push the joints slightly further than I'm willing to go. Now starting off with the head sculpt, it is on a hinge joint, and I do believe a ball joint as well, so it gets a fairly decent, while not amazing, range of motion. The arms themselves will go up to about there, they will swivel all the way around, and they do have a pull out ball joint, butterfly joint up here at the shoulder. There is a swivel at the upper bicep, a double bend at the elbow, which gets you way past 90, and a ball joint down here at the wrist. As for the torso, you do have a ball joint there as well, but you can extend it upwards and get even greater range of motion. That's actually really impressive. It will expose a gap both on the front and at the back, but if you're doing some ground pound style poses, it may not be an issue for you. The legs will go forward to about there, of course, until you drop them down, and then they can go up slightly higher. There is a swivel incorporated up there as well, a double bend for the knee, and a ball joint down here at the ankle. Just wrapping up on the ZD Toys Iron Man Mark 5. While this guy isn't as good in my opinion as the 2 and 3, it is very, very close. It's still a fantastic release. And of course, if you are building out the Hall of Armor, this is one that you'll need to pick up. The design is super intricate and very different compared to the other two. It's much more streamlined, it looks a little bit thinner, but I find the articulation a little bit harder to work with. I still love it, and I still think it has a good place in the collection. I don't really know what they could have done to improve upon it. I think the drawbacks are just down to the design of the suit itself. At the very least, you do get that additional suitcase accessory. So if you are doing a custom racing suit Tony, you can pick up that suitcase, which is already really well sculpted and also painted. So too is the suit itself. The silver sections look great, the red metallic is of course gorgeous. It's just those couple of unpainted grey sections which are throwing the legs off for me personally. Overall, I still recommend it. It's a fantastic figure, but if you just want to pick up one suit in the ZD Toys lineup, I potentially would lean towards the 3 or maybe even the 6. A review is coming up very soon on the channel for him. If you are looking to pick up the Mark 5, he is in stock right now with toyswonderland.com. The link for that is of course down in the description below, and they do have 12-month installment plans if you are a fan of paying off your figures over time. Also, while you are down there, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.